This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, Education Minister Chris Hipkins was heckled when he addressed a meeting at Invercargill's Southern Institute of Technology. The Waitaki Community Hospital Action Group is vowing to keep up pressure following proposed staff cuts. And this year's Otago Goldfields Cavalcade has wrapped up with hundreds of trekkers arriving at Lake Hawea. Good evening, I'm Daryl Baser. Education Minister Chris Hipkins' proposed shake-up of the polytechnic sector appears to be frightening some southern institutions. The Minister was heckled as he addressed a meeting at Invercargill's Southern Institute of Technology on Friday. Taking a stand for the SIT. A group of protesters refusing to sit down when asked to by Education Minister Chris Hipkins at a public meeting, despite his pleas.
Those of you who want to take a seat, if you do, I won't hold that against you. I won't read anything into that other than that we're going to be here for an hour and a half and you may not want to stand.
Eventually, some of the vocal crowd of around 500 people chose to sit, giving those who wanted to talk a chance to be heard. A current SIT student asked the Minister directly about the course he's enrolled in.
I'm currently enrolled in the Commerce faculty here, and as a mature student I've benefited from being able to study here, and I would like to know whether or not other students will have the same opportunity that I have in the future.
First is anybody who's currently enrolled in a course of study, whether it's at a polytech or whether it's SIT, any other polytech, or through an industry training organisation, will be supported. They will be able to finish their programs and those programs will continue. Our ultimate goal is actually to expand the range of programs that are on offer here and everywhere else around the country, not to decrease them.
Away from the meeting, the Minister maintained his support for the work the SIT is doing.
You know, at a government level, we want to see that continue. So that's been one of the key messages that I've heard, is the level of local support for SIT. And one of the messages that I've been conveying back really is a reassurance that, you know, we still see SIT as an incredibly important part of the local Southland economy, the local Southland community. We do want to see that continue.
Chris Hipkins pays tribute to the SIT and says the government wants the Southern Institute's achievements replicated nationwide.
And there's a lot of assumption that every decision's going to be made at some, glass ivory tower head office somewhere. The reality is that's not the model that we're trying to develop. We actually still want to keep decision making local, but as part of a nationally integrated system. And so that's why we want organisations like SIT, like Otago Polytech down the road, we want them involved in the design work about how to make this new system operate.
He says no decisions have been taken and describes the proposal as a framework. In Invercargill, The South Today. And following on from that story, Minister Hipkins' office has confirmed he will definitely be speaking at a meeting in Otago at the Polytechnic tomorrow night. At the meeting, Otago Polytechnic Chief Executive Phil Kerr is set to put forward his own alternative to the government's proposal to merge New Zealand's 16 polytechnics. Tomorrow night's meeting begins at 5 p.m. and is open to anyone who wishes to attend. The Waitaki Community Hospital Action Group is vowing to keep up the pressure following proposed staff cuts at Oamaru Hospital. It's the message from protesters who staged a peaceful picket in Oamaru at the weekend.
Making their feelings known. Around 100 protesters in Oamaru denouncing the proposal for change to staffing at their local hospital. Last month, the Otago Daily Times obtained a copy of a confidential document including proposed staff cuts and a reconfiguration of the hospital's layout to increase efficiency. The proposal says the number of full-time equivalent nursing roles will be reduced, meaning additional responsibilities for senior nurses on duty. Administration, occupational therapy, orderly and cleaning roles will also be affected.
We are really concerned about the idea of disestablishing staff in a rural community as a major risk. to have a major loss of our staffing.
Dr. Clayton says the announcement has affected the morale of hospital staff.
They are feeling really demoralised by this whole process. These are people who've been in the services for a very long time, some of them, and some of them are new people who are just on the ground. And we wanted to show our support for those people and to say, we care about you, you're an important part of our community.
She says they've been encouraged by public support for their protest.
It's been really good to hear the traffic, the turnout of people hooting. It's great to see the people, a portion of our society really interested in this, really wanting to support the staff and backing this.
The Waitaki Community Hospital Action Group says they'll remain active in their opposition of the proposal, and this will include engaging in dialogue with the Southland District Health Board and the Ministry of Health. In Oamaru, for the South Today.
Traffic slowed to a crawl after a car burst into flames at the side of Dunedin's Northern Motorway at the weekend. The female motorist, who declined to be named, says she heard a loud bang and pulled over, her car's engine becoming a ball of flames as crews from Fire and Emergency New Zealand arrived. A man helped the driver from her burning car says he was just doing what he thought was the right thing to do. Police say the fire disrupted the flow of traffic leaving the city after Saturday night's Eagles concert. The motorway was closed for a short time while firefighters extinguished the blaze. Hundreds of horses, riders, wagons, walkers and cyclists rolled into Lake Hawea on Saturday for the conclusion of this year's Otago Goldfields Cavalcade. The warm, still conditions couldn't have been more perfect for the final day of the annual event.
Finally at their destination, more than 400 horses, plus riders, walkers and cyclists converging at Lake Hawea at the end of the annual cavalcade. About half of this year's 11 trails, which ranged from walking and cycling to heavy wagons, had to undergo route changes because of fire risks. Geraldine McDougall and her group of 58 walkers encountered sleet on the Criffle Range and stayed overnight in various wool sheds. She says organising the walks is becoming increasingly complicated.
It took a lot to get this trail organised. The logistics of between wool sheds and that is getting harder and harder each year, but it's all panned out. You know, it's like a jigsaw puzzle when that last piece goes in. Yay!
Blair Lennon says his team of Clydesdales pulled heavy wagons over the Lindis Pass, where they encountered mostly great weather.
We had one morning that we all yoked up and everything and it was fine, and about 3 hours we had a bit of rain and skittle stuff, and then dinner time come clear, so yeah, no, it was brilliant. Yeah, it really was.
While many cavalcade trails are a distinct journey from A to B, there is an alternative called a cloverleaf trail, where riders have a base camp and simply go out on day trips.
Yeah, I've done the cloverleafs probably for about the last 10 years, and and then before that we just used to be the point-to-point ones but then we've got a bit older and that, and you get a bit more of a holiday on the cloverleaf ones, and you can bring a few luxuries like your toilet and things, and which makes all the difference.
Next year's cavalcade is set to take riders to the Maniototo town of Patearoa near Ranfurly. In Hawea, for the South Today.
And still to come on the South Today, we see a would-be burglar who may have tried to burgle the wrong place, and we meet the broadcaster behind the movie Celia.
Dunedin Beds R Us are having a stock clearance sale during the month of February. Up to 50% off New Zealand-made Sleepyhead beds. Come see Ricky and the team at 505 Princess Street, next to Armstrong Prestige. Plenty of parking.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489 2274.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
Every Kiwi deserves a reliable garage door. Rely on Garrador to protect your important stuff. Just like Darren. His Garrador keeps his favourite ride in mint condition. We have a huge range at affordable prices. Visit our website for a free consultation. We stand behind every door.
Don't suffer in silence. Call Sunny Chin, Chi Master Body Technician for structural, muscular, emotional bodywork. Phone 03 4250 606 for all your pain relief.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
ID Dunedin Fashion Week is celebrating 20 years and you're invited to the show. One amazing show, 2 nights, Friday 15 and Saturday 16 March at Dunedin's Regent Theatre. The show features ID International Emerging Designer Awards and a runway show from 16 of New Zealand's leading established designers. Tickets are available from Ticket Direct. Grab a group of friends and book today. All the details, www.idfashion.co.nz.
Welcome back. A person of interest linked to a spate of Queenstown thefts appears to have tried breaking into a security company vehicle and ended up being filmed. The attempted break-in involving a vehicle belonging to a security professional whose video cameras recorded the incident. 2 more burglaries were reported to police over the weekend. Tools were taken from a table in front of a house as well as from a building site. Last week, 2 tool thefts took place at Lake Hayes Estate as well as an attempted break-in. Police have released the video saying they believe the man can help them with their inquiries. Broadcaster journalist Amanda Miller visited Dunedin earlier this year to promote her feature-length documentary. Her film Celia looks at the life and message of social campaigner Celia Lashley, who passed away in 2015. Lashley was probably best known for her book about raising boys entitled He'll Be OK. The South Today asked her what she believes her film is trying to tell audiences.
Well, the message is for all New Zealanders. This film will hit people at different places and in different spaces, so it will be really resonant to people for a whole lot of reasons in terms of where they're at with the relationship, where they're at perhaps through losing somebody through death, through cancer, or what they're thinking about in relation to domestic violence. Everything that matters to New Zealanders is in this film. It's really important in terms of understanding that we've got to do a better job at taking care of ourselves and our families and our children in order to make a better New Zealand. Everything that Celia said was important to New Zealanders. She covers the territory in terms of social messages about relationships between men and women, the way we raise boys, domestic violence, the way so many of our children are in state care, the state of our prisons. We've got far too many people in prisons, and she was a prison manager for the women's prisons for a long time. So essentially she covers in this documentary everything that is high on the list of New Zealanders' conscience at the moment in terms of what government leaders are talking about, what we need to change, and she wanted to change that, and that's why she wanted this documentary to happen. I know that she changed people in terms of the way she communicated with them. She was able to be totally straight up. She spoke in absolutely quite blunt and often quite full-on straight up language, which people got. So in terms of measuring where she got to, she could have done so much more, but of course at 61 that's way too young to die, but she didn't get a chance to finish all those projects that she so dearly wanted to. My career started in Dunedin at the Evening Star before it closed. I often think that perhaps it was my behaviour at the Evening Star that may have caused it to close, I don't know. But I stayed here for the early days of my journalism career, working for, first of all, South Pacific TV and then TVNZ, and came and went a few times. Came and then went on to Wellington to work for various programs like Fair Go and current affairs programs, and then moved to TV3 to essentially present and be a reporter for 60 Minutes in 2020 before I ended up freelancing and making documentaries for TV as well. I didn't actually choose Celia, she chose me. She asked me to make the documentary when she was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And when somebody asks you to fulfil their dying wish, well, of course you say yes. The only reason we have this film actually able to be screened throughout New Zealand right at the moment is because Gary Robertson, originally from Mosgiel, he was a Sparky back then, came to my rescue after he heard me on national radio, Radio New Zealand, talking about how I desperately needed funds to finish this documentary, and he knew of Celia through Raising 4 Boys. He and his wife had gone to her seminars, and he also knew that she was working in the area of domestic violence, and he thought, I'm going to help this woman, and that was me, and I'm going to get Celia's name out there, and he's done a damn fine job, and I'm very grateful.
Amanda Miller's documentary Celia is currently screening in cinemas across the south. And after the break on The South Today, we meet a professional wrestler who admits to being a hooligan, and we have a look at the weather for the start of the working week.
Dunedin Beds R Us are having a stock clearance sale during the month of February. Up to 50% off New Zealand made sleepyhead beds. Come see Ricky and the team at 505 Princess Street next to Armstrong Prestige. Plenty of parking.
Most of us have spots on our skin. That's quite normal. Finding skin cancer as early as possible is key to successful treatment. Book in for a free check of 1 to 2 moles or a comprehensive full body check with the Mole Doctor in Waverley.
Green Island Medical Centre have 2 late night clinics. We are now open on a Tuesday and Thursday night until 7 p.m. with doctor and nurse appointments available. Phone us on 488 2754 to make a booking or to find out more information.
Tune in to Eastern Light Filmworks every week.
Step into Shop on Carroll and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. We have new items arriving every day. Visit us for a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
ID Dunedin Fashion Week is celebrating 20 years and you're invited to the show. One amazing show, 2 nights, Friday 15 and Saturday 16 March at Dunedin's Regent Theatre. The show features ID International Emerging Designer Awards and a runway show from 16 of New Zealand's leading established designers. Tickets are available from Ticket Direct. Grab a group of friends and book today. All the details, www.idfashion.co.nz.
Welcome back. Dunedin Police are investigating after a group of people climbed over a fence at Speight's Brewery, smashed a control panel, but left behind cans of alcohol. Police say those involved scaled the fence at the Rattray Street Brewery on Saturday before smashing a control panel and leaving beer cans behind. Speight's is unsure if anything was taken. Last year, police warned cases of Waikato Draft and other beers stolen from the same brewery were not fit to drink due to possible glass contamination. Queenstown's hooligan may be hanging up his spandex. The resort-based wrestler, otherwise known as Mark Perry, is gearing up for what could be his last time in the ring.
After beginning his long pro wrestling career back in his native England at the age of 16, Mark Perry, aka the Hooligan, is on the verge of retiring. After losing to rival Kane Khan at the recent Fight for Gold event in Invercargill, Perry challenged him to a rematch at the upcoming Queenstown WrestleFest. Khan accepted on one condition: if Perry lost, he'd have to retire.
Kane Khan, Queenstown WrestleFest, Saturday the 16th of March, you are going to get the Hooligan. My career, your title, I'm going to go down swinging, mate, no matter what happens. So let's have it.
The 31-year-old hasn't won in front of his home crowd for 2 years and admits he hasn't been able to keep up lately.
I am putting my career on the line for this one. I've been beaten twice by Kane Khan and I've also lost 2 years in a row in Queenstown, so the guys are questioning whether I've still got it.
The 6-bout event is usually held around the same time as Winter Festival, but it's been brought forward to March after organisers struggled to book a venue during the busy season. It'll be the 5th time the popular event's been held in the Hooligan's hometown, and he has a message for his younger rival.
So I'm putting everything on the line. I'm going to put my career and go for the title. It's all or nothing for me at Queenstown WrestleFest.
The action set to kick off at the Queenstown Memorial Centre, and the Hooligan says if he can't get the job done in front of his hometown crowd, he's happy to step aside and focus on his family. In Queenstown, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Education Minister Chris Hipkins was heckled as he addressed a meeting at Invercargill's SIT last week. The Waitaki Community Hospital Action Group is vowing to keep pressure on following proposed staff cuts at Oamaru Hospital. This year's Otago Goldfields Cavalcade has wrapped up with wagons, walkers, cycles and more arriving tired and relieved at Lake Hawea over the weekend. And time now for a look at tomorrow's weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with tonight's southern view, street art in central Dunedin. Looking at the situation, there's a warm week ahead as a north to northwesterly airflow prevails, the weather mostly fine apart from brief rain on Thursday. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport can expect a wet day with 20-degree highs. Across to the northeast, Nelson and Blenheim are set for clear skies and a warm top temperature of 27 degrees. Going down to Canterbury, a mostly fine day with 24 degrees for Kaikoura, 26 and a few clouds for Christchurch, while Ashburton is due to also be a bit cloudy and have 28. Heading down to the southern towns, fresh northwesterlies and mostly cloudy conditions are the order of the day, with the Cathlarines heading for 23, Balclutha one lower on 22, with Lumsden and Gore both aiming for 21 degree highs. Heading westwards to the Central Lakes area, fresh northwesterlies and some cloud are set to prevail. Wanaka and Queenstown are due for 23 degrees, Alexandra 25, while Te Anau should expect a few showers and a high of 20 degrees. The northern towns are the place to be tomorrow. Timaru and Oamaru can expect variable winds and a high and a fine day, heading to a 28 degree high. Twizel and Omarama are due for fresh northwesterlies, some cloud and highs of 25 degrees each. In Dunedin tonight, high cloud and northwesterly winds with an overnight low of 18. Plan for a mostly fine and sunny day tomorrow with warm northwesterlies and a high of 27 degrees with an overnight low of 15. Fine on Wednesday with sunny periods and some cloud, warm with light northerly winds, looking at a high of 24 and a low of 14 degrees. And in Invercargill, mostly cloudy tonight with fresh westerly winds and an overnight low of 15 degrees. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, aiming for a high of 23 and a low of 14. Mostly dry, but expect a few scattered light showers possible at times with heavier rain on Wednesday night, looking at a high of 21 degrees and a low of 14. And that's all for our news this Monday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Have a great evening. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.